medical facts. This case was a tough case. It was just very, very difficult. And it was difficult because, really because of the sensational aspects of how the man died. The medicine was clear. I mean, this was one of the most egregious instances of medical negligence that I've ever seen. I'm a doctor. And however, because of all of the background noise, there was a real possibility that the jury could have been distracted from the facts of the negligence and following Georgia law, and could have basically muddied the water and not given the widow and her two sons justice. And we really, really give tremendous credit to the jury for being able to focus on the issues and to follow the laws of the state of Georgia. Well, what happened in the case? First of all, the victim was a 31-year-old man. He had high blood pressure, he had high cholesterol, and he had some heart studies that showed that he had some changes to his heart as a result of the high blood pressure. What we do know is that the patient wound up having sex and he died. Now, again, what is kind of bizarre about the case were the very, very unusual aspects of the sex that he was engaged in. Again, you know, the type of sex that he was engaged in is the type that's, you know, totally unacceptable in our community. But the fact of the matter is, this man could have died running on a treadmill, running after a criminal, and again, it's just coincidental that he died doing something that again, is just not accepted in our community. And again, I give credit to this jury in Gwinnett County, which is a conservative venue, for them being able to basically look at the issues, look at what happened in the doctor's office on March the 5th, and knowing this doctor committed negligence against this man. And if he had done the right thing, put him in the hospital, made the diagnosis, the man would not have died.
As my partner said, it was critical for us to pick a jury that would be able to separate out the issues. Obviously, this case was highly sensationalized because of how William Martinez died. You know, this was on the medicine. It was a clear case. We felt the negligence was smacked you in the face. The doctor dropped the ball over and over again and sent William Martinez, put him at an unreasonable risk of sudden death, and that's what happened. But what was difficult for us and challenging was being able to, for the jury, and it took us a day and a half, it took me a day and a half to pick the jury, to try to separate out the issues, because we're all human, we're all a product of our experiences. And in this case, you had adultery, you had infidelity, you had a ménage à trois, and you had the fact that he was a police officer. There are people that have views about all of those issues. And our trial strategy was to first pick a jury that we felt would be fair. Listen to the facts, listen to the evidence, listen, and be instructed by the judge and render a verdict that reflected the evidence, and not be distracted by that sideshow. Obviously, everybody was disappointed by William Martinez's actions after he went to see Dr. Gangasani, but the medical negligence happened in his office when the doctor dropped the ball. So in terms of our trial strategy, getting to a jury that would be able to not let the fact that adultery was involved in this case. We know that people have very strong religious beliefs in this community in Gwinnett, and indeed in Georgia and in other parts of the country. So to be able to get a jury that could set aside their religious beliefs about adultery and still listen to the evidence and apply the law was certainly a challenge, and it took time. To be able to get a jury that could set aside the fact that the way that he died, you know, right after a ménage à trois, if you will, was also something that was quite challenging, because we again had to have a jury and people that could be open to listening to the evidence on the medical negligence, which is what this case is, and not be so affected, disgusted, angered, and disappointed by what happened in that hotel room. So again, that took time. The fact that he was a police officer, you know, there's been a lot of publicity, negative publicity about law enforcement, whether we believe it or not. We had to delve into how people feel about law enforcement because, again, our client who brought this case was his widow. And we, in terms of our trial strategy, wanted to ensure that she and her children not be penalized and that Dr. Gangasani not have a free walk because of his medical negligence, simply because of the bad judgment of her husband on that day. Because again, the negligence happened on March 5th of 2009. And what he did after, had Dr. Gangasani done the right thing, done his job, and operated within the standard of care, he would have still been alive today.
And that's pretty much the case. I do want to give one quote from the widow. We have instructed her not to give any interviews to anybody. This case is still an ongoing litigation, and so, but she did want to make a statement, and this is what she said, quote, "This is certainly not the best of times for my family and me. We love William, my husband, and the father of our 2 sons, and we will have to carry on without him. However, the recent verdict, which the lawyers of Edmond and Lindsay fought so hard to get, will benefit our family and help me to educate and care for our children." So